So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our conjunction video of the week again, because of course I skipped Sun and Saturn in the third house in this week's series because, hey, Mercury's retrograde. We're all going to make mistakes. Okay. Not only that, Mars is retrograde and Mars represents technology. So, you're going to screw things up with technology, which obviously I have also done so, in many ways. I had to do four reshoots for meeting Ketu because somehow, some way, either one time the audio wasn't good, twice audio wasn't good, third time the sensor of the camera was just like shaking for some reason. And of course it's going to do that. I mean, because I'm connecting with the planets and stars and signs every day, they start speaking to you, they start telling you more. So it's actually a teaching. It's not a teaching, I mean, it's a learning, from the cosmos. So I actually welcome it. So anyway, Sun and Saturn in the third house is what we're going to discuss today. And if you do not know, if you have this particular conjunction, what sign it's in, what nakshatra it's in, all the other astrological details, for that, check out the links here. Check out my full astrological report, including my books, consultations, and link to my academy, Maga Vedic Astrology Academy. So let's start with our Sun-Saturn conjunction. So first of all, what we want to understand is, what is the third house? Third house represents communication, writing, traveling, younger siblings, performing arts, dramatic arts, playing sports, activity. And it is actually the third house that really shows how the ego is manifesting in the world. You could be a very humble person, but if the third house has certain planets, certain nakshatras, the way you perform your actions and communicate, that's how people are going to perceive you. And this is something you can actually just look at in your own life. How you communicate and do certain things versus what you actually think within your mind will be two different dramatic things. And so one thing I've always said is that with Sun and Saturn, because they're such arch enemies, you got to see which one holds the lowest degree, because that's the one who's going to be more victorious, in this sense. Like, for example, if Saturn has a lower degree versus Sun, a person is going to become very rebellious with their communication, very political with their communication. Somehow they will always find something wrong with an authority, no matter what sphere they're in. This could be something as weird as they go to somebody's party and they find out that this person is a leader of this union or this particular, management company. And they already have their opinion set on that. And somehow, some way, they will always find a way to take side of the masses, regardless of who's right and wrong. The other thing you also see is that once communication becomes very straightforward and harsh with Saturn in the lowest degree, they'll put a complete authority on their younger sibling. Like some of those people who either may have a huge age gap with their younger sibling, an older sibling, like there could be like a 15-year gap. And literally the older sibling feels like a father or mother figure, or your younger sibling feels like a child to the individual, not as somebody like a counterpart. And that's where these differences come into play. And especially with Sun and Saturn. And this is especially, again, with Saturn being the lower degree, you got to be very careful of what you say on social media, because one becomes very determined to press their point, on, especially nowadays on social media, about what's wrong with this thing, what's wrong with that thing. Everybody has their wrongs and rights. Everybody feels perfect in their own scenario and how the world should be, how government and politics should be. So this is a particular conjunction that can actually get you into trouble with your profession, with your communication, which especially now is online. Like how many times you hear somebody said something on some social media and then the company fired them. But also, like I was telling you with the whole scenario of the younger sibling, Sun, when it holds the lower degree, this person feels extremely responsible for taking care of their sibling. Once Saturn holds the lowest degree, they feel responsible, but they feel they need to implement more authority on that individual. Sun is here to sacrifice. Saturn is there to rebel with the lower degree. And especially because of your younger sibling or travel, you're going to sacrifice something related to the sign of Capricorn where it's placed. So let's say you have Capricorn in your 7th house and your Sun, Saturn are in the 3rd house. Because of some issue with the younger sibling, you may have to sacrifice, let's say, your relationship. Let's say you have to delay your marriage because of some issue with the younger sibling. And especially with this conjunction, regardless of the high and low degree, one becomes a totalitarian, authoritarian on their children. Like one becomes blind that, children, these are like young, plants that haven't had strong foundations, or, the fruits come in and they would want to take that plant off. They become extremely like authoritative with their, dealings with the children. On the other hand, such people also tend to find very reliable support system, reliable network circles. They tend to always have people who will help them in the last moments. When something is going wrong, somebody will always come and help them. But one of the other things you will see, and this is again regardless of the higher lower degree, one will have major fights with neighbors, especially neighbors on the right side of the property. Now, again, to really get the true story out, to really see the whole script playing out, the zodiac and the nakshatra, play a big part. Like, as much as nakshatras are extremely important, it is the zodiac, and this is something I would probably even make a video on, maybe on my vlogs in the coming weeks, about how a zodiac sign is actually a jacket on a nakshatra. So there's nakshatra, the raw nakshatra, but the zodiac sign will put on a certain clothing, certain jacket on that nakshatra. And why is it true? Because you will see how a nakshatra, when it spills into the other zodiac signs, behaves differently than the other zodiac sign. Like, for example, you have Dhanishta in Capricorn and Dhanishta in Aquarius. They'll behave differently. You have Punarvasu in the Gemini side and Punarvasu in the Cancer side. They'll behave differently. Okay, but anyway, this was my analysis of Sun, Saturn in the 3rd house. If you're new to my channel, subscribe below so you don't miss these type of videos. And if you want to know where your conjunction is placed, all your astrological details, including my vlogs, check out the links here. Otherwise, we'll see you with, our plans through Ascendant series tomorrow. Bye-bye.